Now let's get into Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, look at the reaction that Bill Clinton gets here when he comes out to speak. Just listen to the crowd, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a listen, Lewis. All right, now incredibly, as a contrast to that, take a listen to the reaction that George W. Bush gets when he comes out to speak at the Republican National Convention last week. Oh, that's right, he didn't speak there because he's an embarrassment to the Republican Party, and the last person they can bring out to speak is George W. Bush. Stark contrast, isn't it, Lewis?
Yes, well, unfortunately, you associate the wars and our debt with someone. You can't have him speak.
It's actually incredible. Bill Clinton was more generous to George W. Bush during his one speech last night at the DNC than the entire Republican National Convention was generous to him. Bill Clinton said, you know, it's been great to work with George W. Bush on AIDS relief through the Clinton Global Initiative and everything else they've been doing together. That alone, ladies and gentlemen, was actually more positive about George W. Bush than the entire Republican National Convention, Jeb Bush saying, "My brother, I love my brother." That's incredible. You know you have a problem as a Republican Party when your last president can't even show up there. And Bill Clinton, the last Democratic president prior to the current one, is getting a hero's welcome because, let's be honest, the numbers were good under Bill Clinton.
Perhaps the grace period is about 12 years for public speaking in situations like this, because 12 years apparently is enough time to forget about getting filleted in the Oval Office. But you know, I mean, Bush has only been out of office for four years.
Not quite even, yeah.
So
let's talk about the Bill Clinton speech a little more. Before we get into the content, I was a little bit concerned by some of the things I picked up health-wise going on with Bill Clinton. The hand tremors were looking really significant. Now, with someone his age, he's 66, he's had the heart surgery. That could be that could be nerves, and that could be, which I don't really know that this type of speech makes Bill Clinton nervous at this point. He was so good. It could be medication that he's on, or it could be that he has some kind of health issue that's causing the tremors. But the fingers really I found to be a significant tremor that he had going on there. What do you think about that, Natan?
I think that he had a tremor in his fingers. I don't know if we can say much about what the reason is.
It could be something as simple as caffeine addiction. Who knows?
There you go. Okay, in any case, the speech was excellent. The speech was, as all these speeches are, it was well written. But in Bill Clinton fashion, choosing to go out there and, you know, a lot of the reviews are saying that it was a wonky speech and that it was going into policy in a way that was inaccessible to the average person. I actually tend to disagree. The speech did go long. I don't know that that's necessarily a bad thing. But he did go into very specific detail about here's what Paul Ryan and Mitt Romney are saying, and here are the numbers. And what's incredible is that the fact-checking of the Bill Clinton speech is, on the whole, saying that he was basically just telling the truth. I mean, Natan, you saw a number of articles relating to that.
Yeah, factcheck.org basically claims that he made a few exaggerations about the effects of Obamacare and some of the comments about Medicare, I think. But overall, he was just relaying facts. Now, the Washington Post has a fact-checking team. They were a little bit more critical, but there's no comparison to the Paul Ryan speech the week before.
Now, of course, the accusation will be, well, certainly the fact-checkers must be biased. Who's fact-checking the fact-checkers? But we're talking here about things that are easily Googleable. And interestingly enough, this morning, one of the gentlemen from PolitiFact was on the 11 a.m. Eastern Time hour on MSNBC, and Thomas Roberts asked him, well, that number about 66 million jobs, 42 million of which or so were created by Democrats in less years, and the rest being created by Republicans. That number about the astounding disparity between the number of jobs created by Democrats and the paltry number of jobs created by Republican presidents. And interestingly enough, the guy from PolitiFact, whose name escapes me, said something like, well, that's true, but... and then went on to say, you know, there's a number of factors in the economy that relate to the number of jobs created. I thought that the job of the fact checkers was simply to say what was said is true or what was said wasn't true, not to do a broader analysis about the implications and context. I mean, Bill Clinton stated facts and the facts were true. So I'm not alleging that PolitiFact is biased or whatever. It was just interesting that I think maybe for fear of being called biased, if you simply go out and say, those are the numbers, Bill Clinton
then you're biased in the other
then you're
direction.
biased in the other direction.
Yeah.
I think that there was almost a fear there.
It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah.